In today's video, we're talking about how to create content for an online course. Whether you're new to creating courses or you feel like you're a seasoned expert, I want to cover all the bases so your next course is full of content gold. My name is Marley Jaxx. I am the CEO of Jaxx Productions, and I have helped thousands of entrepreneurs just like you create and sell their online courses, including high-ticket courses where people are paying you lots of money for your knowledge, but that means you have to have a really good course to do that. And that's what we're talking about today. First, I want to dive into the first step you need to know before creating any content for your course. I'm also going to show you how to position your course so that it's setting up the next sale. Because when you can blow your audience's mind with this course, there's a really good chance they're going to want the next level, which is how you sell high-ticket courses. Then I'll tell you a personal experience that will show you how you can set up your course for lasting success. The first step you need to take before creating any content for your course is, first of all, to know what does your audience want? What are they looking for? What solutions are they looking for? What problems do they have? What is keeping them up at night? And how can you help them with that? I've worked with many entrepreneurs who wanted to create online courses for things that weren't really what their audience wanted. And as a marketer, it's our job to market to our audience, not to try to convince them of their problem. If you have to convince your audience that there's a problem, it's not a problem. Your job as a course creator is to create a course that's providing solutions to your customer based on what they need. The best way to do this may be to survey your audience, to listen to the market, to get involved in Facebook groups, to see Q&As. What are the questions people are asking? Now, like I mentioned, I'm going to share with you at the end of this video what I learned about setting up your course for lasting success and a strategy that you can use to make sure that you are never launching to crickets and you're never wasting time creating a course that nobody will buy. Once you have the idea for your course, the first thing that you're going to do is reverse engineer the results into bite-sized pieces. If you know that you're going to get your audience this big result, how can you turn that into succinct, bite-sized lessons or modules that will lead them towards that result? A big problem I see with course creators is they feel like they have so much knowledge, which you do, but they just word vomit all over their customers instead of giving them the fast path to success. Your customers are paying for ease and speed. They're not paying for you to inundate them with all this information. Think about it. If someone is trying to sell you on this beautiful vacation in Hawaii, they're not going to sell you on the 10-hour flight it takes to get there. They're going to sell you on the ability to see the most bluest waters that you've ever seen in your life, be able to snorkel with the fish, and that you're going to have an amazing time. You're going to get that result. It's not inundating them with, here's all this information. So make sure that when you're putting together your course, you're making it bite-sized, succinct, and digestible. The next thing to consider is your delivery system. How does your audience like to take in content? There's different formats you can choose from: text, videos, worksheets, modules broken into sections. Think about how you're going to provide this content for your audience. Make sure that your course is achievable and manageable. There's a very fine line between over-delivering, which is great, versus overwhelming. Kind of like I mentioned before, you don't want to inundate them with all this information. And as much as you want to be able to provide value for them, make sure that it's not in a way that they feel overwhelmed with all these things that they have to do. Give them one section at a time, give them clear deliverables and milestones, which also leads me into the next point. If you can gamify your course, that's what's going to incentivize your audience to actually complete it and get results, which if they're successful, you're successful. One of the things that we do is we give people badges every time that they complete a module. They complete a module, they take action, they do the exercise, and when they complete it, they get to earn a badge in our Facebook group showing, yes, they've achieved that milestone. And when people get to the end of the whole milestone blocks, like they get to the end of their, we call it the yellow brick road, we give them a prize or some sort of incentive. Maybe it's a t-shirt, maybe it's a water bottle, maybe it's access to more bonus material. But when you do this, it gamifies the system so that your audience is excited about completing it. The bonus for you as the course creator is they're going to be providing you social proof that what they're implementing is working, and you can use that social proof to advertise to other potential customers. And when your customer has completed the course, that means that they're ready for the next step of your value ladder, which you're more likely to sell them into because you've gotten them such awesome results. Gamifying is probably one of my favorite parts. So with that said, do you have any ideas for how you might gamify your course, or have you been a part of any courses or programs that incentivized you, gamified things? Share with us. It might it'd be cool to get some more ideas. Now, let me share with you a personal experience about one of the courses that I created, some of the mistakes I might have made along the way, and that you can learn from so that you can set up your course for lasting success. I have a high ticket service that I provide, and before I ever had courses, all I had was this service. Now, it was great because it was high ticket, I had great profit margins in my business, but the downside of it was that that was the only thing that people could buy from me. So people wanted to know how they could get those results, but they couldn't afford it at that level. So I decided to make a course. The problem with this course is I just brain dumped all of my knowledge. I didn't really put it into a format yet to provide a pathway, a yellow brick road for my audience. I kind of made it like the Netflix of video marketing instead of showing them step by step what they could take. So this was really educational for me. And how do I create a course that helps to get people results? Now, this next strategy that I and all of my clients use is one that's going to make sure that you are always set up for lasting success in any course you create. When you launch a course, instead of just creating it, spending all this time and then launching it to the public, what I recommend is doing a beta launch. What this means is you create the outline of your course. Maybe you turn it into a 6-module program, or it doesn't matter how many modules, but you have the outline. And you present this to your audience. You have a beta launch, and you're very transparent with your audience that this is in beta, that you're maybe looking for 5 or 10 or however many people to go through this program with you. And the benefit for them is that they're going to get it at an introductory price, and they may be able to get more access, more coaching from you directly. The benefit for you is that you have an audience to test this content with. Maybe you're building it with them live. If you're saying it's a 6-module course, maybe you teach it to them live every week for 6 weeks. I do this for everything I ever launch, and the benefit of this is when I'm teaching it live, I get to hear their questions, I get to hear their aha moments, the things that they are just blown away by, so that when I take that content and then produce that into the full course, I know that I'm creating content that's truly providing the result for the client. The other benefit is because I spent that time with them, they're getting incredible results, and that becomes social proof when I advertise this to the public at full price. Now that you know how to create an online course, what if you could turn that course into a system that creates monthly recurring revenue for you? A system that ascends your audience members all the way from front end to high ticket. I call it my infinite cash flow blueprint. I've actually created the whole blueprint for you, the whole sequence that you can plug and play and run in your business. So if you click the link below, I'm going to give you access to that entire infinite cash flow blueprint for free today.